A week ago, Darby Allin shocked the world inside the Angel of the Winds Arena in Everett, Washington. I was there in attendance. It was certainly quite the atmosphere. It was great to see certain talents that were literally at a VFW hall just up the road, competing in front of 100 to 200 people, getting a chance to shine on the biggest goddamn stage. And Darby Allin certainly bled and sweated and took a lot of bumps that he didn't need to take, all on the road to becoming AEW World Heavyweight Champion. And now, 4 hours from me, they were in Portland, Oregon, where, well, Don Owen used to run a territory there, and if Don Owen had seen this show, he would have said, you know what, I've woken up, and I'm going to go back to sleep for all eternity. I'm John Renton with my review of AEW Dynamite from the Veterans Memorial Coliseum in Portland, Oregon. In all seriousness, actually the show wasn't all that bad. Just a couple things that are kind of grating at me. But, yeah, I was not in attendance for this show. I probably could have gone if I really wanted to, but it is at least 4 hours from my house to go to Portland, Oregon. And that would have been a long drive. It would have required me to take another day off. And also, that would have been such a long trip, I probably would have been totally blitzed and probably recorded my review in the goddamn car. So, instead of recording in the car, I decided to watch this show while I was working, earning that sweet, sweet dollar. And yeah, Excalibur, Nigel, and Shivani on commentary. They need to have Shivani on commentary. Excalibur's lost, and Nigel needs somebody to play off of. Darby recaps. It was cool to see it. I just wish the crowd was bigger. It's only about 3,000 people. MJF music, and he's pissed. He is not filming a movie, or at least not yet. He calls it the Seattle Screwjob in Everett. There's a bit of a difference there, but let's just overlook that. He claims he's still the champ. He brings up that he made sure the Hangman could not challenge for the championship again, kicked out of the One-Wing Angel, and tells Darby to give it back. But here's Kevin Knight, somebody that cut his teeth on the independent scene here, in Washington State, and also has worked in Oregon and worked in New Japan, is now shining oh so bright. So, after winning the TNT title at Dynasty, he basically calls MJF a little bitch chance. After more talking and basically Kevin Knight being called a good hand, but unfortunately average, will never be world champion, he's like, I had you beat, but we, I guess, just need to ignore that, but I think I could beat you again, and why don't I put my title up on the line? So there we go, and we're going to have the match next week as MJF powers out and does that. Okay, nice little tease, that's fine. So Renee is with the Demand and Jericho. He's just Jericho now. And it's going to be a six-man tag on Collision. We find out later it is the Hurt Business Syndicate thing. And why are we involving Lashley and Shelton in this? I guess MVP and Jericho made up for the fact that Jericho was kind of, whatever he was, probably drunk, likely drunk. So, Brody King took on the Blackheart Leo Rush. There were fuck ice chants. Leo Rush even mouthed that. I firmly stand behind the, mindset that I just do not necessarily care for Leo Rush, but there are people that like him. So I'm not going to really dog him here. Just my personal opinion. Went longer than I think it needed to, whether Leo makes his size work for him or not. Brody won even with a hurt arm, so that was nice. And then Brody basically says, hey, Darby or Ciampa, whoever's the champ, I've got next. Renee is in with Ciampa. Ciampa says, basically, does Stuart Smalley thing. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. He didn't actually do it like that, but that's all I could hear with this. And look, Ciampa fits in AEW a lot better. His main roster run was never going to go all that well in WWE. Size and injuries and stuff like that. And speaking of injuries, more on that here. Copeland's in the back and basically says, hey, FTR, we can beat you. You are one of the greatest tag teams of all time. We're right up there. And how about this? It's a New York street fight, double or nothing. And if we win, we get the tag titles. If we lose, then we retire as a tag team. I'm going to tell you right now, if they don't win the tag titles, I'm going to be a bit surprised. Unless one of their contracts is up and they're just not going to be part of this. I think Copeland has said that he doesn't have much more left, even with the time off that he's taken. He signed with AEW sometime in like late September, early October of 2023. Well, he debuted at Wrestle Dream 2023, which I think was on the 1st of October, but I digress. The whole point is if his contract is coming up soon, he doesn't want to, if it's a 3-year deal and he's not going to stick around longer, hey, maybe they do retire as a team. I don't know. I think they're probably going to win the tag titles, though. So, Hikaru Shida, along with Chris Statlander in her corner, took on Mina Shirakawa. And the crowd loved Mina. Everybody loves Mina. How could you not? Good God in heaven. They laid some shit in. There was more fisting than I've seen involving 2 Japanese women. Besides this movie I saw online once. By mistake, of course. A flash knee by Shida. We go for a break. We get some knee focus by Mina Shirakawa, setting up to try to get the figure 4. An apron drop. I don't know why we need to do the apron spots. I don't care if it's man, woman, animal, vegetable, mineral. I don't care. We get a kick for 2, roaring elbow, back and forth, sling blade off the ropes, the figure 4. Shida manages to get out of it. The cane got brought in. Statlander stopped Mina from using the cane. To be fair, she might have stopped Shida, Hikaru Shida, that is, from using the goddamn cane. And then we get a Falcon Arrow. She's done the deal and actually gets a 3 count. By the way, somebody said that when Shida had a match. It was the match with Statlander teaming up against 2 people. Danica Del Rouge and Big Ann with her big cans. I can't help but see that. But yeah, Falcon Arrow, she's done the deal. And it was funny because somebody, I think, in the road next to us had said that. That was very funny. Package on Okada and take. Please have this go. Not much time and have Takesh to win. And if you notice, I'm blitzing through a lot of this stuff. 1, I wasn't at the show. 2, I'm sorry guys, but some stuff just starts to blend together. So far, the matches aren't that bad. Then we do Will Ospreay versus Mark Davis. We get a jump start. Callis is on commentary. Ospreay kept going, and they even went to the stage. He did a stage dive. We got neck targeting eventually. He did do a flip kick, but he needs more tape on his body. He did get, slammed around. He did some nice offense. Will is a very good athlete. Basic wrestling's a little bit suspect, but he's definitely an amazing athlete. And, we get basically another, series of moves. Spanish Fly. We get a drops on the neck. We get a hidden blade for 2 because he couldn't quite make the cover in time. A lariat, a pile driver for 2 because Will got his foot on the ropes. And apron pile driver. Why? Why all the apron spots? And a referee stoppage is basically what we get. We get the doctor involved. We get a referee stoppage. And then Davis gets a sleeper over the ropes. Starts to look like he's going to pick him up for a pile driver. And then suddenly the Death Riders show up. And that's immediately where I said, you know what, Tony? You are not a serious promoter. They kidnap Ospreay. Where's the Portland PD? They usually like to stick their nose in shit that they aren't involved in. And, whatever. So why not actually talk or, investigate an actual crime taking place? And I'm sorry, but this uncircumcised string bean pod named Wheeler Yuta and Garcia, who is eroding faster. He literally looks like he is a goddamn earthworm that is drying up in the sun. And Shafir, you're not good at this, and all this stuff is terrible. So Alex Windsor vows to kill the Sisters of Sin or pull their legs off or whatever. There are some that would pay good money for that. And Persephone shows up. One particular viewer really liked that. You know who you are. Be ashamed of who you are. Don't be ashamed of who you are. The feed wasn't really all that great, so it was a little bit hard to hear some of the stuff. Also, they were cheering for a wrestler that's going to be in the following match. But we're going to get these two on Collision. Maybe I'll tune in for that, like on a Sunday or something or on the Sunday and just see that match for the wrestling and only that. And then Samoa Joe took on Cody fucking Chung. Why were people saying that? Because Cody has worked in, he's worked at with promotions in Everett, Defy Wrestling that works in Seattle and Tacoma, historic Washington Hall, historic my ass. I met Cody. It's been years. Nice guy. Very tall. Unfortunately, one of the shirts that I got from him, I bought 2 shirts and they ended up getting damaged. I don't remember how they got damaged, but like a couple of years ago, so it's fine. I mean, I could always buy something on Brainbuster Tees if I want to support him. But yeah, Samoa Joe took on Cody Chung, and good for Cody. Stupid Rick Knox is what I noted. Cody can work and did some, nice little offense. on the arm and stuff like that, but then tried to do the crossbody and or just a dive in. Just Joe just walked away and then hit the muscle buster 1, 2, 3. Then we get a Darby package. The Hurt Business is with Jericho, as I said. Darby got a big pop and basically got You Deserve It chance. His first match was in Portland. That explains everything. And, he'll give it his all until the wheels fall off. This is for my parents. I was able to retire. This could be a 15-minute ride. He's pretty much telegraphing this will probably be a short run, so he's going to work TV matches and then probably drop it at Double or Nothing, I guess, maybe, whatever. But it was nice that Darby got a chance to shine in Portland. After MJF interrupted and basically says, you need to give me back my title. No, you need to give me another shot. No, not until you put something up. So here's my guess. He's going to put up the Dynamite Diamond Ring, even though Bandito has that, and it really shouldn't. But MJF's won it so many years in a row, he just keeps it just because he's a heel. Or Darby says, you know what, Max? Put up if I win, Hangman can challenge for the title again. If you lose, or if you win, then you get the title back. And they could do that, and then Darby will win, or Darby will lose, rather, and then we will just be back to square one. Darby doesn't need the title for that long. This could just be a Jeff Hardy late 08, early 09 run, or his world title run in July of 2009 to SummerSlam 2009. And then we had Darby versus Ciampa. They laid shit in. Ciampa did an air raid crash or a psycho killer drop or whatever it was and practically shattered his hip on the floor. Why would you do that? He was out with a hip injury. And I don't know why the fuck he did that. He was also bleeding at one point. And do not get me wrong. They laid shit in. This is a really good main event. It was very indie-rific, but it was a very good main event. Had the crowd roaring. Darby nearly died on a few spots because Darby is bound and determined, despite naming the fact that naming that he has a fiance, that he said he met on the school bus. That's a bit wordy, or that's a bit strangely worded, rather. But whatever. Darby nearly died on several occasions. Darby did win with a Scorpion Deathlock wrench thing, where eventually Ciampa tapped out. This is worth seeing. I can't really go over the minutia of every single move. And then Brody comes out, and he's got next, and that's pretty much it. So, yeah, these reviews sometimes get shorter, especially when I have to watch this stuff at work, because I only have so much time on my hands. Otherwise, but nevertheless, that's it. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say about this show in Portland. I'm not going to watch the Collision. I am in the midst of, setting up some stuff where I'm going to record occasional things, but I'm probably going to ease back. And AEW better keep me locked in for the pay-per-views, because pretty soon, if pay-per-view views do not improve, and I mean, granted, they're down for everybody, I may end up just not reviewing that many pay-per-views. In fact, by the end of this year, if I'm doing that much wrestling, I'll be amazed. Nevertheless, that was Dynamite. Fine show, except for the Death Rider stuff, and I don't care about the stuff with Jericho. Matches are still going too long. I still say they could do 7 matches on a 2-hour show. A couple matches that go maybe 4 to 5 minutes. And you have some video, you do that. The Collision format, I think, works better. And I think they need to implement that with Dynamite, because some matches still go a bit too long. Agree, disagree what I said? Like, share, subscribe, Twitter, Letterboxd, Blue Sky handles in the description. I'm John Redland, and until we see what AEW brings us in the future, happy trails to you.